Welcome friends, in this video I'm going to take you on a small journey through the circle to see what we can discover about it. Let's take a look. So this is a basic circle. And now imagine that for the purposes of this video, the whole circle here represents the number 1. This is how I'm going to mark it over here. Take a look. I'm going to write 1 to mean the whole circle. A circle, like anything else, can be divided pretty much in infinitely many different ways. So for the sake of symmetry, what I'm going to do is divide it into 360 tiny wedges. Let's do that next. Take a look. So here is one of these circles with 360 wedges marked on it. So what I'm going to do now is first of all observe, right? If you put 360 of these wedges together like this, they give back the whole original circle. That's something important to be observed. And what happens over here starts getting really weird, right? Because there's so many of these little wedges overlapping, or rather, adjacent to one another, that it's very difficult to print this. So you would have to obviously, like zoom in there and see how they all kind of touch together at the center of the circle. So 360 wedges make a circle. And I'm going to focus on just one of these wedges. Just one tiny wedge. So when I do that, mathematically, what does that mean? That means I'm going to take 1 and I'm going to divide it by 360. That represents one of these wedges. Let me zoom in on one of these wedges. I'm going to put that aside, and here's one of these wedges extracted from the circle and enlarged so that you can see it better. So this wedge represents 1 degree essentially, the way you see it right here. But of course, there's nothing that stops us from dividing things further and further. So I'm just going to write this down, that 1/360th of a circle is what we call 1 degree. By definition, that's it. This is one of these wedges right here. What can I do with a wedge like this? Well, there's nothing stopping me from dividing this into 60 tiny pieces. Now, I can't do that physically, right? Because if I try to divide this into 60 tiny pieces, one piece will basically be invisible or very hard to see. We can just focus on, say, this portion right here of this wedge, and then we zoom in on it so that we can actually see how it's been divided into 60 pieces. Take a look at that. So the way I did it is I generated something like this. What's the relationship here? Let's not miss the relationship. The relationship is you take this right here and you zoom in on it. That gives you this entire thing like that. And now it's easy to see how it's been divided into 60 pieces still, you see? So in terms of mathematics, there's only one operation involved here. That's it, only one operation. The operations involved in mathematics are quite often very, very simple. You begin with the whole circle with 1. You divide that by 360 to get 1 degree. Then you divide that further by 60 on both sides over here. And that is going to give us what we call 1 minute. So that little sliver right there, it might be even kind of hard to mark it, right? That there would be 1 minute. So that would be, in terms of the fraction of a circle, 1 circle divided into 360 pieces. Then you take that and you divide that further by another 60. It's going to tell you what fraction this 1 minute is of the entire circle. It's a very tiny thing, hard to see in fact. And as you can imagine, you could take your 1 minute and you can divide that by 60 again, and that would generate what we call 1 second. That's already almost impossible to see, so I'm going to leave it here. But at least I hope you understand how things are obtained in terms of, for example, dividing a circle into pieces. And when it's hard to see, you can just continue to zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. And there's only one operation involved here. Don't forget that it amounts to division, repeated division by 60 to get an ever smaller wedge so that you can measure an ever smaller angle. Let's not forget that, right? When you look at the whole circle right here, that's 360 degrees by definition. So when we say that, what we really mean, of course, is it takes 360 wedges like this to actually make the circle. If I begin here, I'm going to go through 360 wedges to make a circle. And then one of these wedges represents 1 out of those 360 pieces, this quantity. And then if I divide this wedge into 60 more pieces, I'm going to get a little tiny little thing like that looks like 1 minute. That is it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and I'll see you in another video.